Hello and welcome, as it is the 22nd day of June 2019. My name is Derek. Of course, all bets, trades of the like, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. I haven't seen the 1 minute or 5 minute chart since, well, even since I did the video. I've seen the numbers move. And obviously, well, I can't say obviously, you probably don't or may not know. The market had a big move down and then recovered it. And I'm going to see it for the first time because it was barely over 10,000. After I completed the video. Now back at 10,830. So now I'm looking at the signs of the 98, just like I did back at 63, just like I did back at the 48. How are we going to handle this? As what's the status? I've talked about it before. Resistance, support, fast move to next. Next becomes wild because really there's a small level at like 12K, and then it's all about going up to previous. So I didn't even really 13K, 13,000 actually. That would be the next target level if we're not going to be finding any resistance here. And well, you say, well, we aren't. We came up to the screen. That was halfway through, and we're continuing further. Yeah, but that doesn't mean this can't be a top. But we have a red candle that comes back down to where we came from at 8,900. But of course, it's just waiting and then seeing how it goes. But the buyers are in full control of this market, and as I've been saying, all sell-offs are guilty until proven innocent. And boy, have they been guilty. And there we have this 4 hour outside out period, an extreme one at that. It's right at the area of the close. A decent sized line higher, much larger sized line lower, but only by a noticeable amount. Single hour term, there's the move right here that happened at the 10 a.m. hour. Price action we can see going to 10,337. I'm going to switch this to Binance just so I can see the 1 minute time frame because I know I'm going to be going there much more clearly. Oh, these lines here, yeah, they're way back when. Okay, so there we have it. There, the nice little big move. So, where are some of the areas where we came from? And this is what made this so interesting because a lot of times I'm just going to give you a previous area of key resistance at a straight line, and I really the best I can do is here. But I mean, this correction, like a lot of times, markets can correct sideways, but then you can correct that way. If you're doing it at low volatility, that makes it an interesting aspect when you're able to do something like this because you're freeing yourself from the 18 here. And we can see how wild things go. 4 good periods, and then a much more aggressive one like this in here compared to, of course, this one here. And now we've had this aggressive move, and we're still obviously in aggressive behavior. So let's keep on moving down. We got 3 more time frames going lower. 15-minute term. And the lines here, this is just wild, wild volatility. So a move that's broken this support, broke this support, broke this support, and was unable to come back to this previous level of resistance, but close. Okay, how are we going to react to it? Well, we're now on period number 4, 3 completed, as it had a test back in here. But this is shows some interesting aspects at the price. We know closed here, came back down to a higher low. We can see that in this period. And it had a nice little rally. It held that rally. And then this last period it broke above it. Now what are we doing this one? We're 3 minutes and 50 seconds in. So we're somewhat past the early stages. And decent sized moves, usually 25 to 40% of the way in, will manifest itself through. Let's look at it itself on the 5. And within it, we can see the level of resistance in which it established within that of span of, we'll say, 4 periods. This one to this one where it broke down from. And then getting above and holding above so far, and doing so within the 18 very, very nicely as it's gotten up to the highs broken above it. But can it hold and stay above or below this 18? Can it find and hold and stay above in here? I don't know how it's going to progress because there's so many possible outcomes that can play in. If we end up finding support where we are in here, it would do so within the 18 average of lows. And we'd be establishing support again. Most likely, we'd be having some little bit of rallies. We're probably establish the level of resistance, and then we'd be playing out on a range break. But and then is it just going to go down? And then if you see weakness, it comes down in here. Well, now you're in the situation where you can have a really fast move lower, or some volatile moves like this, and also on the upside kind of deal. If price action just starts to go up, okay, we could have a big move going forward, maybe just to this high, and who knows if it goes further in these wild times. And then it's just going to be a standard one. Maybe we come up and we resist somewhere like where we came from. And then this, of course, would start to rise, and then maybe we'd have a little bit of a pullback that would come back. And that's why if we can stay in here, establish a level of resistance so that when it does break it, it's not a surprise that it ends up coming back there after the fact. Okay. I had a request based on the spreadsheet that I've done. I don't like, I mean, I'm going to make one better. I'm just satisfied with the one that I manually put in. But as far as the automated one, I'm just going to take a quick look at it. I haven't looked at it for days, so there's going to be a lot of ratio differentials that are going to be out of whack. So I would basically tell you if I didn't trade anything from the last time I looked at it to now, what would I do? So it makes it very interesting. So I'm going to load that spreadsheet up for the first time. Before that, I was looking at a guy named Aaron Cavalli. He's making his first start today. What I do as a, not a trader, as a sports bettor, is I would go to Baseball Reference to see what this guy's done in the minor leagues. And you know what? Nothing good, nothing bad. So I'm actually fading him. But let's take a look at where's my bookmarks. So I'm going to explain the spreadsheet. I'll put the code again to get the prices because that's really the only big thing I'm going to need to really help you out. That's, you know, I mean, I'm not just going to tell you and you're going to write it down. It's just not how it works. Nothing is moving. Right click. This can't be right. There's got to be some 17s and some 20s. How could this be? This makes no sense. What's the prices on here? 130. What's Bitcoin? I don't got Bitcoin on here. 429. 4279. Well, let's just check what the price of Ripple is. 48. It's not updated. No. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you probably should see 48 there. Again, another reason why I don't like it. If I can get some good auto moves, what I would like is a trading platform in which I could have multiple alerts, and it would automatically do stuff like this. Even if give me charts the best they can, especially where I want. Okay, I want to see Litecoin versus GRS kind of chart, and but as far as how this works, they get the data. I can really say two things. First, the way these numbers come in, and I don't know why it's not reloading it, but let me just see if I copy and paste this. I forget what number it was before though, but it's much lower, so it would have a. You should see some negative signs on there maybe. It's loading, and it's taking some time to load. A lot of time to load. Loading, loading. Do you know what this reminds me of? 1987, even 88, 89, when I would turn on my Commodore 64 computer, and I would get a lot of loading time. And maybe it's just not updating anymore. I don't know how this is working. Error loading data. If I just go like this, am I going to get a bunch more error loading data again? If this doesn't work, this is the code right here. And I suppose you could change USD to BTC and get the Bitcoin price there. But it's really not an efficient software. And the next thing that I need to say is, how do you calculate the answer in mathematics? What's the formula? What do you have to put in a calculator? Thus, when you're making your programs, what do you need for um, your formulas? And that is, I mean, I don't know what more to say because I understand that this is, I mean, I learned this and I'm good at it. So I know a lot of people aren't. But to me, there's only two other ways. There's only two ways. One, you use a spreadsheet, or two, you write it on paper. I'm sure you could. There's apps on phones you could use. I don't do stuff like that, and it's. I'm not even gonna. Now, does this screw up all the data here? Yep, I figured it would. Well, I'm gonna cut. This is it for that. I'm gonna go back to charts. And anything. Let me just uh, again take a little update on my ratios, the way I do it. It's unlikely that there's going to be any major changes, but there might be. I do have one alert ready to go. It hasn't beeped. That's theta for a drop. Because I'm looking to sell Ripple for theta, but I really want a better price. 4140 here. So just edit the numbers, and it's a matter of division on the ratio. And it doesn't matter if you use the Bitcoin price, the dollar price. It's going to get you the same number. DGB is down to 129. I don't think that's going to be enough to put any buy orders in for it though. ETC 833. That's really no change. So nothing's going to go on there. Go is 189. Any big move? Down a bit. 184. I ended up selling some Go just about 20 minutes ago for some Litecoin. Maybe I'll just flip it back if Litecoin's going up, which it's not. GRS 3D881. Commode is 1225 ish area, 1230. Litecoin 1298, 1299. So it's pretty much the same price. Neocoin, that's the volatile one today. It was 1586 was 1570. And if you want to see something fast, watching Ripple move against Bitcoin on their actual order book, it's like, I mean, literally, there's like 4, 6, 7 trades a second. It's sick. And I had not such fun earlier trying to play that book, both with that and then the technical, and then this little bit of faulty errors that seem to now have been fixed on Binance, where it wouldn't let me cancel orders, and then I was one satoshi or two satoshis off on a sell order, which sucked. That's just normal market action when you no exchange there or whatever. Theta 1202, so it might be close. Ripple 44.54. I'd like to see that at 45 though, and Tron at 332. So let's just talk about the spreadsheet again. So to me, I would prefer doing it manual. It doesn't. This is so many coins, and if you're only doing a few more, it's like relatively simple. And within it, you can. Well, from here, this is. So how do I figure this out? This is how much the one that's doing better is up, and what I would do is I would take, okay, well, what's the differential? Max minus min. Okay, there we go. That's a differential. And I divide it by the lowest price, minimum. And that's how I get this number. Now, as far as doing things like, say, calculating your portfolio and measures of like, well, how much Bitcoin is worth, how much you own, and these different things, you can write down your spreadsheets. And then when you go through different trades, I like my Go one to be like just to uh, show. Like earlier today, I ended up selling, and it's interesting. The ratio is kind of. I mean, this is one thing I don't like about Litecoin on Binance is only let you have two decimal trades on the Bitcoin cross. Hmm. You know what I'm thinking? I could probably fix that with BNB. Okay, yeah, what I'm thinking about is I'll just go check BNB. If I can get more decimal trades, like I'd like to trade at least 3 decimals of Litecoin, and I have a decent amount of. I probably should have got back like 0.262, 0.263. Also, notice here I traded a much better ratio trade here, 67 to 77. That was like 12, 13%. My mistake is I probably should have deposited like another dime Litecoin, another 0.10, 0.11, make it like a 0.39, 0.4 trade. But this here was still a good move. It was like a 7% play, but it was actually I would have got like 7,100 and something had I got my decimals on there. But what you can do is you can see, okay, what I sell is negative. You can get your inventory when you do this. So say for example you own 40,000 Go, and now I can have a calculation where it's going to automatically add and subtract them. So you'd have a spot where you can do that, and just different things upon that measure. All right. Also, if Neo goes up and Theta goes down, I'll have another trade because I've already had a buyback already. I already sold some Theta earlier. Uh, uh, I ended up selling at this top at 17, and I bought Theta. And then when it came down, not as much. I only I sold about 60. I sold about 60, 65 or ish percent of what I sold up here. Or what I bought in Theta, I sold. And I got a good amount, good percentage back of the Neo that I sold, but not completely full. But if price action comes up, say here, what's the number on this game? That's a move of like 172. So that's a gain of that would be 12, 13. We're talking close to 10%, but not quite. Do I want to make a trade here? This is where you make a gamble. It's an interesting spot here because this is a situation I know I'm going to hate. I've talked about it so many times before. When you have just this monstrous type of run higher here, you have a good price correction, which is what the case is. And then after you're done your correction, and most likely you're going to have resistance like this established well lower than the previous high. And it almost seems like 99 times out of 100, sarcastically speaking, but it's still a high number out of 100. That when it gets up here, that all these time frames, the five, like this is going to be the 18 average is going to be probably somewhere around here. It's going to be well extended. And I'm going to be like, okay, what are we going to have here? If this thing breaks resistance, this thing can go good, pretty good. And if not, I mean, I've seen so many situations where you have a spectacular move, and this isn't a failed situation. You have a spectacular move. You have your correction. They all have it. I mean, it has to happen. It's 100% of the time. I think at some point it has to happen. And then after it's done in a failed situation, it's either going to make a lower high, matching high, or a pierce above. Failed last rally, and then it's just going to end up doing this in time. It's common that when you have a top, you have a retest rally, the last failed one that happens. And it's one of those either or situations. And when we look at this, we're going to have to expand so many time frames because a move of this magnitude on one single period, and it's almost done 10 minutes. So you have this low and this high is up to where it was. Okay, where's our must hold? Well, the easiest one is 61.8%. Piercing below is fine. So somewhere around here. I mean, to me, there's no real whatever on this. But ideally, you still want to hold it in here, though. I'm talking about the deepest level that one would desire for such a case, and then you look at this long term. We had this bottom here May. It's been grinding its way higher. If it can get up, I mean, it's at this level of resistance in here, but it has been for quite some time. So getting above here, we're now starting to talk about this 18 average of highs in this previous area, and the 18 average of highs comes in at about 190. So we go back to what's going on in here in the 5, and you got your choice. You got, okay, choice number one. Do I sell here? Do I sell again at 190 maybe? Or do I take a chance? Do I gamble as everything's a gamble anyway. Gambling and investing to me is the exact same word, definition, for definition. And do I take a chance here, not sell, and then see it come up and have its move up to this point? And then at this point, this is where your ratios against Neo are going to be amazing. If you're trading against a dollar of Bitcoin, you're going to be able to. That's to me where I think a key sell point would come in. For myself, I would probably rather trade here than trade again here. That's in that simple variant. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye bye.